I'm your host, Saber Main with Reaper 1. Welcome to Fiddler Talk. All right, today's agenda is going to be talking about perspective. So we're going to get into it, and we're going to let Reaper 1 give us a little inside scoop on something that he wanted to talk about real fast.
Well, since I am the producer and I get to choose what we do, I don't, but I get to.
You think you get to choose the plans and what we're doing, but in generally, I'm the mastermind. Just kidding. No, it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork thing. So
there's a big question that's been on my mind and everybody else's mind. I want to know your desk toys. I want to know what keeps you company while you work. So show me.
What keeps me company while I work?
Yeah, show me your desk toys.
You want to see what my desk looks like?
No, I want to see your toys. All the little knickknacks on there. Show me some. You gotta have some. Everybody's got some.
Oh, dude, I got nothing on this desk.
You have 0 desk toys.
Yes, I have 0 desk toys. Yeah,
what a loser.
I have a ring. I got my army ring.
What a loser.
Hey.
You don't got no photos, no nothing?
No, bro, it's straight work here. This is all work. Like, it's straight a work desk. Like, there's nothing to distract me. I mean, I keep a drink nearby, you know. Oh, my. That's what it is. Okay. So, you keep that near you. Okay.
Yeah, it was a gift, and it stays on my desk watching over me.
Oh, it watches over you for sure. All right.
Now we can get into it.
Yeah, let's get into perspective. Let's put Emma away and get to business. You know. Oh man. All right, so
I told you it's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great. Look, we're humans. This is what we do. All right, perspective. Don't make me laugh.
I'm not doing anything.
Dude, I already told you. I'm gonna laugh. You do a little something. I told you. All right. Perspective. So this is probably gonna be like going into perspective. We're probably gonna have more than one part on this because it's gonna be.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. There's a lot to go into it. But understanding that people have different perspectives is kind of huge. One thing I heard it from the radio, something about respect, man. Respect and responsibility. Like, we're gonna go into this because it's the easiest one. Everyone's big on gun control, gun rights, right? Like, so you have the right to carry a weapon. You have the right to bear arms. You have the right to do that, but it's your responsibility to use it the right way.
100% agree.
So that also goes into you're responsible to be the right dude, and it's for you to have the respect for others for their rights. Well, we could go into and we could talk about perspective. Look, where we grow up, we're in 2 different areas. I'm on the West Coast. You're in a different area than me.
East Coast.
We didn't grow up in the same area. But it's my right to have my perspective, but it's my responsibility to respect yours.
But both our perspectives are right on this one. We're the same, which is interesting. Yeah. You'll meet a lot of people in your life that have different perspectives on a lot of stuff, and then that you realize real quick, oh, wait a minute, we also agree on a lot of stuff. That's what makes people, man.
Yeah. So Reaper 1 over here likes to build these hard, challenging questions to really challenge the brain, right? So he has different questions for perspective, and we're going to get into them. So we're going to go through that way. The other one, we're going to kind of bounce back and forth. It's kind of this is such a hard topic to actually cover, but it's such a great topic that needs to be covered. So, And I mean, I haven't heard anyone else really talk about his perspective the way we're going to get in depth. So let's get some of these questions rolling down the line.
Okay, well, the first thing I want to know for you personally is how did you shape the way you speak to shift your perspective?
The way so my perspective got changed really when I joined the military, and I had to learn like that was what the shift changing point was.
The way you speak. How does the way you speak shift your perspective?
So the way what you say when you talk, what you say, or you say something negative, you know what that does to the brain? Makes you think you're negative. So that's going to put a negative perspective in life.
Right.
So if you continue talking negative, you're going to have a negative perspective. You're going to be look at life negatively. But if you change the way you can start thinking positive about it, like I'm going to skip a little bit ahead. We're talking about work. You're talking about, all right, snowing. It snowed here, and that didn't stop me. I looked at it and I was like, man, it sucks to be outside. I was like, hold up. Does it suck though? It's freaking beautiful outside. It's a great freaking day to get out there and get after it. By the way, Jocko Willick's saying, get after it. Love that. But, yeah, you get out there and you just make it happen. Like, you're like, cool. It may suck, but let's take all the good out of it. Let's go and find the good in what sucks and turn it to a good thing. And you can do that with the way you speak as well.
Right. And it sounds cliche, man, and it might be cliche, but there is that sort of, I have a crappy car. And you don't think about people, there's a lot of people in the world that work their tails off to buy that car. It's, I only live in a 2-bedroom apartment. It's people on the street, man. I have to go to work. It's people who especially homeless veterans, who would give anything for a chance to work again. So there's all this, it sounds cliche, but it's true. The way you speak is I have a car, I have a house, I get to go to work. So something I'm going to try harder on this year is to really look at the positive sides of things.
Yeah, that's what it is. You got to change from, here's the biggest thing in the military, right? So as I mostly say it's an E4 and below. It's mainly E4 and below. I remember when we got to the unit, I got told, they're like, I give you 3 months before you hate this place.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? Instead of being like, bro, instead of them coming out and be like, this place is pretty cool. This place is pretty fun. Enjoy it. No, they gave me 3 months to hate the place. Well, being around everyone that's being so negative all the time also made me negative. And I was like, I hate this place. I hate what we're doing. And then I got away from that. And I was like, wait, I actually enjoyed this. It wasn't that bad. Like, it's pretty good. Like, you start.
Well, I mean, and that's true, right? You get out of the military, and then your perspective is, man, I really miss going to the field.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's the biggest thing for everyone. If you look at most people, I think, again, that NCOIC of S3, his biggest thing, he's like, you're gonna miss going to the field, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna hate the field. No. I actually miss being in the field. I miss being out there and straight embracing the suck. Because
absolutely,
it's a great freaking story to go home and tell and have a great freaking time with some great buddies.
No, I said, you think about it, like, especially when you get out and you think about all the things that you're going to miss. And your perspective is never, this could be my last, field exercise. It's always, I don't want to go to the field.
Downfall going off again.
You're notorious for that.
Hey, I know it. Dude, that's like my key thing about doing this. Anytime we record, cool. Everyone's like, I need to call him or I need to text him.
There's a silent button on your phone.
Well, you know what happens when that silent button goes on, right? I lose the phone.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So there's that. All right. But yeah, going back into seeing different kind of perspectives is kind of huge. Definitely, you see it a lot in the military. You see different like people with different cultures, so they have different perspectives. So I don't know if you could say this is a good example to go by, but we could be like, let's throw the Andrew Tate thing in, right? Obviously, Andrew Tate got locked up. He got locked up. Kind of hilarious, kind of not. How he got locked up, I'm not gonna lie, he blew it. I thought that was funny. He blew it with what's her name? Greta Thunberg. What's her name?
I don't know how to say her last name, but yeah, that's her name.
Okay, so that was hilarious on how that worked out. He comes out and calls her out on social media, talking about all his supercars. I got my supercars. All right, bro. Nice. What are you without your supercars? Right? And then goes into Greta, like going after Greta. Greta comes back, claps back at her, and talks about how basically, here's my email, small dick energy, kind of funny. I was laughing a little bit. So of course, Andrew Tate's ego got hurt. So he came back and did a video. And because the pizza boxes, they found out he was in Romania.
Okay. It definitely wasn't the pizza boxes because, I mean, he flew there legally and customs would have alerted them right away that he was there. So they already knew he was there. So it wasn't really the pizza boxes. People like to say that. I don't believe it for a single second.
So I do say, all right, part of it is the pizza boxes because they were able to find out that he is in, so they could find out he's in Romania, but where at in Romania. So I think the pizza boxes helped find him. I
honestly think it's just a coincidence that people are taking and going with. I think they absolutely knew he was there and just.
So, all right, perfect. I like where this is going. So you see how you disagreed with me, and that's the cool thing 100%. Of perspective. That's perspective. That's your perspective, right? Because you sat there, and I saw it the other way. I'm like, oh no, the pizza boxes, and you're like, no. There's customs. There's this. Cool. Guess what? We could agree to disagree because we have two different perspectives. That's
all right, and none of us, neither one of us really knows what happened. So
yeah, honestly, but I just think it's a funny story on how that happened. But I do think it's funny. The last thing Greta clapped back at was, "This is what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes." That mic drop right there for sure. That was a good comeback.
It wasn't bad.
That was a pretty good comeback.
I don't know. Regardless of what you think of Andrew Tate, remember, he is innocent until proven guilty.
Yes. So, hey, no one really knows what's going on. We know what the media is telling us. So we get their perspective on it. And we have to base ours off of that.
Well, I mean, personally, I'm a fan of Andrew Tate. I like him a lot. I think he says a lot of good things. And I like the way he says things. So I don't know what happened, but I could form my own opinion and my own thing, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, again.
Unless you really want to know.
You're trying to get it out there. Well, we probably should just do a whole episode on Andrew Tate and see, because again, he does say some pretty good things, and it's not bad. But he does say some of the bad stuff.
I agree with about 90% of things he says. I do agree he could probably word things better, but the reason I like him so much is because he just says what he wants to say, how he wants to say it.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of guts in today's society.
It really does. And I think it's kind of funny on how I just think it's funny. I just want to know if he was the only thing. All right, so you're saying he flew on customs. The only thing I could say that he got away with is he was flying a private plane. Wasn't a private plane. That's how he got away.
He still has to use his passport to leave the country.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're stuff, man. We're stuff's happening. So whatever happened, whatever's going on with that story, we might stay in touch with that story. So here's another story because I'm just kind of popping up in my head, and it's a pretty popular story going on right now. What about the killing that happened in Idaho? You hear anything about that?
Is it about the 4 college students?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Is that okay? I wasn't. I seen the article. I didn't click on it. I haven't read anything up on it. You're talking about he killed 4. He's innocent until proven guilty. He is suspected of killing 4 college students, right?
Yeah. So they're saying that what they found, it was DNA, and that's what led to that person. But I'm not gonna lie, he had that case like on a hunt. I want to know the motive. Yeah. I'm kind of curious what the motive is. I'm like,
everybody wants to know the motive.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I've invested time reading into this. So,
what are you? Are you a blonde chick who sits down with Starbucks and watches Netflix documentaries on murderers?
Oh, all the time.
Is that what you do in your spare time?
Oh, yeah. When I'm not in the gym or preparing for this, yeah, all the time.
White chick.
Oh yeah, for sure. I am definitely yes.
It's too spicy.
You don't even want me to start.
I like it. I like it though.
One of these days, I will show you my drunk white girl act. My drunken white girl act. Great.
On camera?
Yeah, I guess you gotta do it because we were putting it out there. We gotta do it. I gotta do it, right?
Because you forget I've seen it. I was the sober one in all the parties, remember?
Oh yeah, I know.
I've seen everybody's act. Pick them all off the floor. Pick you up off the floor.
Oh, I know. Been plenty of times with that. So let's get back to perspective. Let's get to some more of these questions now that we sidetrack stuff.
So we talked about how speech is a big thing for perspective. I want to talk right now about how perspective could be your ally or your assassin. How can something be good for you but also bad for you at the same time?
How can something be good for you but bad for you at the same time? And with thinking perspective. I'm trying to think of an example that would best explain this. And off the top of my head, I have nothing right off the back. But going off of having perspective where you can think of something good, right? And where it could be bad for you is we can start with all right, we can do all lives and Black Lives Matters, right? They're both the same thing. But
the same saying anyways.
Yeah, they're both the same. In aspects, they're both the same. But everyone sees it as two different things, right? So they're like, oh, Black Lives Matter. Well, that's your perspective on that. But these people think all lives matter. Like, why are we only helping Black lives? And that's their perspective. So it's two different things. But they're fighting each other when in reality it's the same thing. They're fighting for the same thing. So that's where it can be good and bad. Because you could be like, you want your side to win, so you got your views and everyone has their opinions and perspective in that area, and then those over here has theirs too. But there's a common ground, and they're fighting each other in between instead of getting to the common ground.
So what you're saying is because they are the same thing, but because of the way they're presented, it poses problems for certain people.
It's that gap in between where they're not taking away that gap and closing into the common ground. And
right.
I think,
I can agree.
And I think that's huge nowadays. And we're seeing it a lot more in our generations. That gap. No one.
Right.
People can't agree to disagree. It's either my side wins or no one wins. And it's becoming a huge problem nowadays. We need to be able to come back to the common ground. Be like, cool, I understand. I hear you, and I hear where you're coming from, and I hear the other side of the story, and I hear where you're coming from. But this is the gap in between, so let's close it in and come to a common ground, and then agree to disagree. Actually, all right. So I actually had that a couple weekends ago. Me and one of my buddies, we're sitting there talking, and we're talking about how the cops have the law to be able to kick in your door. They could get a warrant and basically kick in your door and go right into your house. And he's all like, I don't like that. And I'm like, no, I completely understand why you don't like that. That surprise kicking in your door, all of a sudden cops up in your house with guns, basically raiding your place. I get that. But for me, I like that. Because I can sit back and I'm like, I'm not doing anything bad. I'm not doing anything like that. But again, if someone did kick in my door randomly, that obviously that is a problem. So I understand where he's coming from. But we were trying to get to a common ground. And I'm like, hey, man, I think it's the right thing to do. And he's all like, they're not using it the right way. And I'm like, if they are or they're not, I don't know. So it's the right thing to do in that sense. Like, to me, to be able to go get a warrant, kick in someone's door without no knocking, I think that's huge, because it's the element of surprise. Whereas the other way is not. So we just came down to agree to disagree, and that's how the conversation ended.
So when I think about this question, I'm kind of thinking about. To me, I more think about like when you get up out of bed. You know, I'm going to get up and make my bed, brush my teeth, go for a run, take a shower, eat breakfast, go to work. Rather than I'm going to sleep until, I have 5 minutes to get ready for work and then go to work. Those are two different perspectives. One could be extremely beneficial. One could be extremely harmful. And that can go for pretty much anything in your life. One thing is okay, I have to work, so I'm going to spend the time that I have at work excelling and doing well at my job, rather than I'm here, I'm going to lollygag around and do as little work as possible so that I can just go home.
So so we could use PT in this. All right. How many people want to wake up and go do PT?
Exactly. It's your perspective that changes that. You wake up, you go to PT, and you get everything you can out of it. You're going to feel better than you go to PT, you slag around, you don't do the exercises, and then you go, to your room.
Yeah. So one of my biggest, it's not a complaint or anything in the military, but there's so many people that don't want to do PT. So they're like, they're making me do PT. They're making me do that. But I changed that mindset. Go ahead.
I can change PT right now for the entire military, and it's beneficial. I have a plan.
One day, soon it will happen. I'm
gonna write the Secretary of the Army and get it done.
All right. I just know, I think when I was going through basic training, I enjoyed doing PT. I enjoyed waking up early in the morning and going for long runs or whatever. Once I got to the unit, and I got a little bit more freedom. We got freedom. You got freedom. So you didn't want to do it anymore. And you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
It is funny. It is funny how you're so willing to get up in basic training and go and do whatever you got to do and train and stuff like that. And then you're giving more freedom when you get out, and you're like, I don't want to do anything anymore. Yeah. It's kind of funny. You think you're giving more freedom, you want to do more,
So I got to figure that out. We'll probably do we'll probably do an episode about that. It's a mind thing. So it's this weird mind thing where
I would agree. I agree.
It's like in the military. When you get out of the military, from having your hair cut short and everything, a lot of people grow their hair out long. What's another one? Beards. They grow beards, man. You get out the military, cool. I'm not shaving anymore. I'm growing a beard. Cool. I don't got to
wait. That's different.
No, it's not. It's the same thing. Like the next thing is a lot of people in the military, once they get done, they're like, I'm not doing PT anymore. I am not going to stay exercise. I'm not going to go run. Cool. That's on you.
No, I 100% agree.
So it's weird. And that's when that's when you go and gain that 30 pounds right off the bat. 2 weeks. Takes you 2 weeks out of the military. That DD 214
really
weight comes.
It really does. I weigh less right now than I did when I was in, so it's good. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Hey,
so
DD 214 weight.
I want to talk about a few. Since we are on perspective, I want to talk about a few more things. We have this general depression around us as human beings, especially here in the past decade or so. People just go through life. They hate their lives. More people on antidepressant medication than the history of the world has ever been. Or probably almost combined, honestly. If you would combine all of history together, in the past 10 years, the amount of people that got on antidepressants is more than it ever was combined.
You don't need it. You don't need it.
No, you don't. You don't.
You know what you need?
You need perspective.
Yep. You're in the basement and you need to get out the basement.
I really, and I was watching a video, and I can't remember what video. Somebody was talking, and they're talking about everybody hates going to the gym. There are people that go to the gym once or twice a month, or don't go to the gym at all. People that won't go for a walk or a run even, and then there's people who are in a wheelchair, and they would give absolutely anything to walk, to run, to jog, to lift, to squat, or deadlift, or anything like that. The people that can't, there are people that died because they lived an unhealthy lifestyle and would give anything to come back and give it their all. There are people that are dying right now, that are in the gym right now, that are eating right now, that are doing the things that you don't want to do because they're already where you're going to be, and they're dying, and they would give anything to be back where you are, redoing it. There are people right now that would give anything. They're old, they're dying, they didn't make anything of themselves, they're alone. And they would give anything to go back and change things, to go back and open the books and study harder. So I was a substitute teacher for a week. A school down here needed help, so I went and I substituted for a little while, for about a week. And there was a lot of the kids there, and a lot of those kids just, I've never been in public school before. So it was really interesting from seeing it for the first time from the other end of the spectrum. But I'm sitting there, man, and all these kids are like trying to sleep on their desks, and they're all like sluggish and tired. And I'm trying to talk to them, and nobody wants to listen. I'm like, look, guys, I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, well, school's not important. I'm like, well, that's not true at all. I'm like, I know hundreds of people that I've met over the years that would give anything they could to go back, open the book, take notes, study, and do well. And I'm like, and I guarantee it, if you don't try, when you don't get a high school diploma, or you just barely pass and you don't know anything, and you get out to the real world, that you'll be like, man, I can't spell, I can't write, I can barely read. Nobody wants to hire me because I don't know anything. It's one thing to go to an interview with a resume and to answer questions and to talk and to present yourself in a way that attracts employers. But when you don't know anything and you didn't take care of school or graduate or do anything, and you go there, same boat, but different shoes. You're sluggish, you're tired, you're like, you don't want to be there. It's clear you don't want to be there. And then they ask you questions, and they're like, wait a minute, you can't even write. Yeah. Like your handwriting looks like a chicken.
Yeah.
And there's so many, and I realize real quick, and I'm trying to tell these kids, like, look, there are so many people in the world right now that would give absolutely anything to just go back and try harder. And that's when you talk about perspective, that's what I think about.
So, kind of going into that, for those people, that are sitting there and they're like, why am I trying anymore? Why or anything? One, don't quit. Like you want to open up those books? Go open up those books. Go back and teach yourself and learn more.
No, I absolutely agree.
Those
100%.
are the things. Like, if you're at that point and you're like, oh man, I'm just too old to. No, you're never too old for anything. Stop thinking that way. I'm young. I'm still young. I'm just getting younger.
Perspective. It's perspective. That's another thing that you notice in the Army. People are like, I'm getting out in a year. And I'm guilty of this. I really am. And I hate that. Too. I hate that I did it. Because you're like, I'm getting out in a year. It doesn't matter. I had the chance to be an NCO. And I got robbed of it towards the end because they changed the regulation and they gave everybody with points NCO, which shot points up dramatically. Without college, you couldn't make points.
Well,
not even with a 300 PT test.
Do you remember
they dropped the ball on that one?
Well, do you remember when I was going for my non-commissioned officer?
Yeah.
So when I was in the uni, I obviously went.
That's
through
when
BLC.
I met you.
Yeah. So I was already going through BLC and everything, but once I got done with BLC, our points for 19 deltas was at 15 points. All right, I was like,
yeah,
cool,
right,
it's
super
in the
easy.
back. I was like, cool, it's in the back. I got it. That October, the one I was supposed to pick up, they shot up to about 300.
Yeah,
and
it shot up to. So they implemented this thing on January 1st, 2022, and I was promotable, and I was working on. I needed to do another PT test because the coronavirus thing. We didn't have any PT tests in, so I was doing that. We had just gone through a range, so that was going to get put in, and I was pretty excited. And then all of a sudden, it went from like 200 points, 230 points, to like 460 points. Like overnight, and
yeah,
there's just no way. There's just no way. A guy like me with no college at all would make points.
So
you'd have to do it. You would have to do it incredibly. You'd have to max out on correspondence courses. To max out on everything, and I don't think I would have made it.
No. So here's the thing, though. How bad?
But that was my perspective.
How bad?
That was my perspective. Exactly. That was my perspective, and I regret it. Yeah. I regret it now. But it happens a lot, man. You get to like you're a year out, and you're like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm not going to shoot well. I'm not going to do well in gunnery because I don't care. And you could go to gunnery and you could make 1,000 points. It's possible.
Like
my dad's an old scout. He's shot dozens of 1,000-point gunnery courses on the Bradley.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? How hard are you going to work for it? And how bad do you want it?
Exactly, 100%. So I think you got to think, man, am I going to regret this in 5 years? Am I going to regret this in a year, in 30 days? Am I going to regret this tomorrow? You got to think. You got to really, really think of every decision you make because you could drop the ball on some things and really regret it in life. Get that perspective done. Because one day you're going to wake up, you're going to be 45 years old, you're going to have nothing, working a dead-end job at McDonald's you don't want to do because you were like, oh, I will get to work on the project tomorrow. I will get to work on the business tomorrow. I'll make a business plan tomorrow, and I'll do it also. And then, it's always tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes because when it's tomorrow, it's just today again.
Yeah, just make it happen. Just get up, make it happen. Like, cool. This is something I want to do. All right, look, this is something I've been wanting to do, but I can't fit it in because I don't have enough time. You got enough time? Stop watching TV.
Exactly.
Take a 5-minute shower. Don't take a 30-minute shower. Take a 5-minute shower. Change it up. Do something different. It's easy.
So all this reminds me of, and we're running out of time here. We got about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to tell a story because you asked me to.
Yes.
So perspective, and this is a thing that I'm actually pretty happy about over the years. So in 2016, I had just turned 16 years old in March. I was living in Logan, Ohio, and my childhood home. We never moved once. I was born, brought to the house, homeschooled there my entire life. Like I lived there I was there 90% of my life, for 90% of 16 years, if not more, honestly. And in March of 2016, that house caught on fire, and then it was probably about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I had a bad day, man. I had rodeo. I couldn't take my horse though, so I went and I did the flank and tie by myself. You don't need a horse for that. People who don't know what that is, you go, they hook a calf to a rope to a horse, they let it go, you chase it down, flip it, tie it. It takes about 6 seconds if you do it right. I got a big cow. He was like 300 pounds. I couldn't flip him. He crapped all over me. Dude, it was a bad day. Like, I come home, I'm like, I'm just gonna shower and go to bed. I showered. I sat down in my chair for just a minute. I think me and my little brother, we were gonna watch a TV show, and I just happened to look over, and my sister's room just caught on flames. So we watched our childhood home burn to the ground. And they eventually got it out. It took them about 6 or 7 hours to get it out, I think. And it was about at 5 o'clock in the morning is when we finally left, and we got a hotel room. We all kind of like went to sleep. And a lot of people tell me that, man, I'm sorry, that really sucks. Like, I'm really sorry. That's terrible. Like, and I heard that. I kept hearing that, and I never said anything, right? Not for a long time. So I was homeschooled, so I lost, I was just getting ready to graduate 10th grade. I lost that whole year. It was all paper books, so it all burnt up. So I had to repeat the 10th grade. I had a sister who was in and out of the hospital for that period of time. My brother broke his leg coming down the stairs from the fire. My dad had to work nonstop. So my dad would drop me off in the morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning, feed the horses, and then we had to tear it down. We had to demo it. There was a bunch of trash. The whole thing didn't melt. We had a lot of downstairs left, but to demo it, we had to get all the burnt up trash and stuff that didn't burn out of the house in the dumpster, stuff like that. We had lived here. My family had lived here for 22 years. So, we had sheds and barns and horses and cows, and we had stuff everywhere, right? 13 acres. So I had to go through everything and clean it all up and pack stuff up that was outside and stuff like that, right? So I did that for about a year. Finished up towards the end of the year. We bought this house in Florida, moved here. I was the only one here. I moved here with my uncle. I cleared brush, set fence, got the horses here, took care of them. The old lady who lived here left an incredible amount of trash in this house. I'm talking like you could fill each room with trash.
True.
She just left it all here. We found some weird stuff here too, man. I found a noose in here one.
Oh man!
I found an Indian mask. Like, I opened a drawer, it was like a folded cloth with an Indian mask on top of it, and razor blades in the drawer.
Oh man!
It was weird. Anyways, right? So I was taking care of all that. So here I lost another year of school because I lost the first year of school. Then what I would have been doing 11th grade. I was working and taking care of the family, helping take care of the family anyways when my dad worked, because he still had a 24/7 job. He still went to work every single day. So I did all that, man. And then, we finally got settled in. My dad finally moved here. And I'm like, look, I got to get a job. I got to get out of this place. So I got a job, and then I did 3 years of high school in that 1 year. While working a full-time job. I worked 40 hours a week and did 3 years of school. Got it all done, graduated at 19. I would have graduated at 17, but I graduated at 19. Hated my job, enlisted in the military. Met the greatest people I ever could have met in my entire life. Had some of the best times I'll probably ever have in my entire life. I met you. I met my wife. I learned so much.
By the way, I did that for your wife.
You did. I hate you for that too.
I called it out.
We hate that you were right.
Yeah, I know. I'll make sure to remind you.
So we had all this stuff, man. I did and accomplished all this stuff. More in 3 years. More in the 5 years that the house had burned down than I had ever accomplished in my entire life. That I ever would have dreamt of really, really accomplishing, especially beforehand. I was a big kid too. I was 210 pounds when I got to Florida. Before the house fight, anyways. I started losing weight consistently, right? So I was a big
Yeah.
boy, right? And I was 125 pounds when I joined the military.
Yeah. See.
Started going to the gym, got confidence. I love the gym now. Gym's a big part of my life, and I would have never got that without the house fire. I would have never accomplished or done or met any of those people or done any of those things without that house fire. So every time anybody asks me about the house fire now, I always say it is the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
When they ask about it too, they'd be like, "Oh, your house been down? I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I love it. I'm so happy it happened." And of course, for some of my other family members, it's different. It's a different experience for them. But for me personally, from my perspective on that event in my life, shaped my entire life for the better.
Yeah.
That's the power of perspective.
Yeah. You could change what you see. Take a negative situation, turn it into a positive situation, and look at all the good that came out of that. It's small things.
I kind of drug along on that one. We've only got a few more minutes, so what I really want to know right now is the Fiddler Initiative.
Yes. All right. So Fiddler Initiative, what we're doing this month, we are doing a challenge. Your Reaper One came up with this, where it's going to be do something hard that will challenge you every day this month. So that could be mentally or physically. If it means like, hey, look, I don't normally read books, and that's hard for me. So read 5 to 10 pages. Pick up a book, read it. If going to the gym is super hard for you, go to the gym. Get up and go to the gym. So
the main idea for January is to do something that you really hate to do. Like if you are like, look, I don't read, but you're capable of reading, 100 pages a day. The goal for that is to sit down and read those 100 pages, no matter what. If you're like, look, I never do pull-ups, I can't do a single pull-up. The goal, is to sit and do as many pull-ups as you can. You take an hour, sit there, do a pull-up. If you have to take 5 minutes, you take 5 minutes and you do another pull-up. The goal is to do as much as you can, to do something that sucks, that challenges you, that really puts life into perspective.
Yeah. So if you are, you're having you are in a bad situation, you're like, the world is against me, change your mindset. Like that, if that's going to challenge you, figure out the little tiny positive things in there and do that. That's challenging. It's just small little challenges to continue with moving forward. I'm not gonna lie to you. We have decided to do a ruck every Monday. I think we agreed every Monday. And I'm not gonna lie, I suck at rucking. So
yeah, especially now we've been out, Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I know you enjoyed it. I know you liked it.
Yeah, I was actually having a good time. I actually in the ruck. All right, so we did the ruck. You can see from our shorts from earlier. It was snowing. It was snowing bad.
Cold.
Well, I wasn't cold. I was so focused on just moving, I didn't even realize how far I went. I actually went about a mile and a half. We were only going to do 2 miles for the first one to build our legs back up. I went a mile and a half out. I was like, oh shit, I got to turn around. Got to go back. But I was like, oh. So
the main idea for the Fiddler Initiative is we have a challenge every month, and some of them repeat, and the point of them repeating is to make them harder. So if we'll probably try to set a goal to 6 or 8 miles this month, and then here in the coming months when we do this challenge again, we'll probably try to set a goal for like 12 to 16 miles. So the entire goal for this whole challenge is to build yourself up physically and mentally to better your lives, but to also better the year, right? So we're going to do it all year, and hopefully this really puts things into perspective and helps us and everybody else who participates, okay, I have to do this, and I do this, and I get it out of the way, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to go work. I'm going to go work on this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, right? Instead of sitting, on the couch or in your bed on your phone or playing video games or something like that, instead of getting home from work and getting on the Xbox, you're like, look, man, I got to go do something that sucks. I got to go run for 3 miles, gets you up, gets you moving. It betters. Hopefully, we're going to better ourselves, and the goal is to inspire other people to better themselves as well. So it's also going to lead up to the Fiddler Fit Challenge in December. So
Yes.
Can we hear we don't have it set up yet, but can we hear just a little bit about that?
So the Fiddler Fit Challenge, is phone going off again. All right, so the Fiddler Fit Challenge is going to be, we're still in the debate of building it, but we're looking at making it more of the physical side of things. So it's going to be some kind of workout. And I think I just lost you.
Well,
oh, else?
Did you lose me?
Yeah, I think I lost you. Where did you go? I don't have you on camera.
I have you. I have you. I
don't have you on camera. Well, we'll just continue. It's more of a physical thing, so that month we can focus on like what kind of routine or whatever that you can get into to really challenge yourself to get into that next following year. But everything that we're going to be doing is going to be a build up to the Fiddler Fit challenge. That's what we're doing. So this is just the workup to get to where we're going. We are definitely running out of time. But before I end this, I wanted to bring this up because we talked about it. We talked about we talked about depression earlier and stuff. You got to remember, the harder it is, it releases chemicals in your brain, and those releases of your chemicals make it so you don't have high anxiety. You're not going to feel that depression because you're doing something different. You're challenging yourself, so you're focusing on that challenge, and it's going to not only better yourself mentally, but it's also physically. So again, that's where we're going with this. The Fiddler Challenge, great. But we got to end this, and we got to.
We'll probably get shirts done and made too.
Yeah, I'm still working on the shirts. So we're still getting there. We'll hopefully get those in soon. All right, but we are running out of time.
Out of time.
So we got to get going.
Reaper 1 out.
Saber Main out.